Very good evening and warm welcome for tuning in to Breaking Today. My name is Lincoln Ombogo. Our sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira. We have a lot prepared for you tonight, but first, let's look at the headlines.
The Jubilee government and the leaders are here have their 4-point agenda. Wamalize hiyo kwanza.
Raila Odinga poses the REGGAE, quotes the Bible and Quran at the launch of the BBI report at BOMAS.
He was part and parcel. It's the truth, I'm not lying. Ask him, he's here.
Moment of truth, as President UHURU says DP RUTO was part of the handshake from the beginning.
In the 21st century, are still dependent on the wheelbarrow and mokokoteni.
Deputy President William Ruto questions the contents of the BBI report. We are live on Facebook at Switch TV and YouTube at Switch TV Kenya. Send in your feedback to our SMS 111 and at Switch TV Kenya on all our social media handles and at Link Wambogo. These are the top stories. Deputy President William Ruto was part and parcel of the handshake, according to President Kenyatta, who was speaking at the BOMAS of Kenya, where he officiated the launch of the BBI report to the public. His deputy has been working closely with him till recently, when his focus shifted on 2022 presidential bid. David Kagina now tells us of the politics behind the handshake.
It was all flowery at the beginning of the event, where delegates were eagerly awaiting the BBI report to be officially launched by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Kenyatta would start by hitting on his deputy about the handshake.
Na nawashukuru, na ndipo namshukuru hata sasa upande yetu ya Jubilee namshukuru kwa sababu tulisonga pamoja hapa katikati, ndio sasa 2022 ikaanza kuwa inapita.
Kenyatta has also said the BBI was not part of 2022 presidential bid for Raila.
We did not talk about sharing government, and as we stand today, he is not in government. He is not in government. He never made any demands for government. He never made any demand for a share of government. He said
Uhuru, who has been spearheading the BBI report with ODM party leader Raila Odinga, has lashed at his deputy for conducting early campaigns.
Race hii ni ile ya kuhandover, unajua? Ndio, inaitwa relay. Unakimbia ule mwingine anakugojea pale, anatakikana kukugojea ndio ashike aendelee, si ndio? Lakini sasa my brother William hapa amepinduka, anakimbia nyuma.
As Uhuru laughed, Ruto stood up and took to the podium, giving the crowd his back, whispering a joke in the president's ear, to which he laughed and then went back to his seat. Terming Kenyans as a tribal nation, the president has called on Kenyans to take it upon themselves to disentangle from tribal politics.
There are issues, fellow Kenyans, that we consistently shy away from addressing because we don't want to address certain things. We don't want to own up to certain things. But the fact of the matter is that we are a tribal society. We want to get away from it, but that's what we are.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has now fully shifted the ball to the court of the Kenyans for them to personally read the BBI report before making the decision of whether to endorse it or not. David Kagina from the BOMAS of Kenya, Nairobi.
Thank you, David Kagina, for that story. Still on BBI, Deputy President William Ruto was heckled today at the BOMAS of Kenya while poking holes on the BBI report. Ruto has challenged several proposals made, amongst them the appointment of IEBC commissioners by parties, as he also took an issue with the appointment of ombudsman by the proposed super president. Joel Chacha reports.
what they collated.
After skipping the handover of the BBI report in Kisii last week, contrary to speculations that Deputy President William Ruto will fail to attend the Building Bridges Initiative report launched at the BOMAS of Kenya today, at about 10:30 a.m., the motorcade of the Deputy President made its way to the convening at the BOMAS of Kenya. The Deputy President took his seat at the usual spot beside President Uhuru Kenyatta, seeming keen and taking notes. Speaking after he was welcomed to the podium by ODM leader Raila Odinga, Ruto's body language and demeanor exposed the inner turmoil as he made clear the misgivings that he had over the document. With the proponents of the Building Bridges initiative already hitting the road, with a vigorous campaign that might lead to a referendum in less than a year to come, the Deputy President wants the pro-BBI team to slow down until he and Kenyans he represents be persuaded on various matters.
We are not all at the same level when it comes to reading. Scientists like myself, we take a bit long because we interrogate things and we want experiments and we do many things. So I would plead with the first learners like Alonzo Musyoka to bear with us just a bit so that we can all move together.
On the BBI recommendation to have political parties participate in the appointment of IEBC commissioners, the Deputy President rubbished it, terming it as an unfair process.
My brother Raila Odinga is good at football. So let me try to ask, how fair will be a league where the referee is appointed by teams? And not all the teams, some teams. How fair will this league be?
With counties set to gain with the proposed 35% from the initial 15%, as well as a War Development Fund proposed in the report similar to the current National Government Constituency Development Fund, the DP supported it, although challenged the Senate should be strengthened by allowing it to have a say in the division of revenue as per the Constitution.
To recommend that the Senate cannot continue to have the constitutional mandate to discuss the division of revenue is actually a downgrade of the Senate.
Should the report sail through, the Senate expect to see an increase in its members from 47 to 94, with each county set to elect 2 senators, 1 male and 1 female, doing away with nominated senators, majority of who are women, as well as the position of county women representatives. On this background, the Deputy President said that these may not be affecting the 2/3 gender rule.
When women go to the Senate, they are going to a Senate which has been downgraded, which has no responsibility on matters of resource allocation. Are you enhancing the participation of women, or are you downgrading the participation of women?
With calls from Bishop David Oginde that hustlers must stop the hustling, and also countering the wheelbarrow castigation he has been receiving from leaders, and the same event remarks by youth leader Alex Matere, Ruto expressed that despite the BBI having some goodies for the youth, the real problem is tackling unemployment amongst them.
Now, the question I want to ask us, how come in the 21st century, a 16th century tool called the wheelbarrow, millions of citizens in the 21st century are still dependent on the wheelbarrow and mokokoteni? That is the discussion we need to have.
While being heckled by the audience, Ruto further challenged the said approach to winner takes it all in the BBI report.
On this inclusivity question, it is my humble submission that as we discuss inclusivity around us, the leaders, we must have a candid, open discussion on inclusivity about the millions of Kenyans locked out by poverty and unemployment. We must discuss how they are going to be part of the Kenyan society. That discussion we must have.
the other hand, RUTO called the law enforcement officers to stay away from politics and also said the proposed creation of an independent office of the Judiciary Ombudsman was an affront to the independence of the judiciary. Joel Chacha, Switch TV, Nairobi.
That story by Joel Chacha from the BOMAS of Kenya. We now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thanks for keeping it Switch TV. Leaders and members of the public from across the country earlier today gathered at BOMAS for the launch of the BBI report. ODM leader Raila Odinga, while quoting the Bible and the Quran, said the referendum should be a unifying factor where everyone is brought on board.
ODM leader Raila Odinga, who has been drumming up support for the BBI report, says that the 2010 constitution was a truth document and the time has come for the country to look at issues ailing it for the future generation.
The Jubilee government and their leaders are here, have their 4-point agenda. Wamalize hiyo kwanza. Hapana ambia sisi vile mtafanya 2022. Sasa hivi fanyeni sasa mnalize kwanza.
In his speech, the former premier claims that the document is not about making him the president or Uhuru Kenyatta prime minister.
Sisi wako pamoja, wako pair. Wako pair. Wewe umekuwa na bibi, mmezaa mtoto, unaona mtoto amekuwa ni kichaa. Sasa wewe unasema hiyo si mtoto yangu.
However, Raila also took the chance to make subtle jabs at Deputy President William Ruto, saying those who keep talking about what they will do in 2022 should do those things now, adding that the Jubilee government must be given time to complete on their 4-point agenda before 2022 politics kick in.
Views of our people. And then they came up with this proposal, which we brought here last year. And from here, we started now a new journey. Validation, as the chairman said. We went first to Kisii for the Nyanza region. And the Bagusi, the Luos, the Koreans spoke in Kisii. Then we went to Ingo, Kakamega. Those people also spoke. We went to Mombasa. We went to Kitui. We went to Narok, to Garissa. Eventually, we went to the mountain, to Meru. But we were unable to go to Nakuru for reasons which have been explained. So this document is as a result of very extensive consultation with the people of Kenya. Made here. But as other people have said, it is still work in progress. We need to be, and we have said it must be inclusive, everybody.
Since the March 2018 handshake, ODM leader Raila Odinga and President Kenyatta have been reading from the same script. Things were not different at the launch of the BBI report today, their rallying call being that of unity and support for the BBI report. Nyakundi Calvin, Switch TV.
Thank you, Nyakundi Calvin, for that story. Meanwhile, Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi has today taken issue with a recommendation in the BBI that states that the ombudsman should be appointed by the president instead of the Chief Justice. Mudavadi, who was speaking during the launch of the BBI at BOMAS of Kenya, said that if the appointment is done by the president, it will be undermining the independence of the judiciary. Wellington Ojuang reports.
Musalia Mudavadi has lauded the appointment of Ombudsman but took an issue with its appointment, suggesting that the appointment be made by Chief Justice instead of the President so as to strengthen the judiciary and enhance its independence.
There's a very good provision recommending the appointment of the Ombudsman to handle the issues of the judiciary. I think that is good. However, I strongly believe that in order to enhance the independence of the judiciary, that appointment should be made by the Chief Justice.
Mudavadi also called for strengthening of the Senate.
I think the strength of the Senate needs to be relooked at again. When it comes to matters devolution, after reading it, I think the articles that have been touched tend to remove or to downgrade the role of Senate when it comes to allocation of resources to the counties.
Kalonzo Musyoka, the Wiper leader, who was also at the launch, pleaded with the governors to use the increased devolved funds as recommended by the report for the benefit of the counties.
Governors, when you get this money, I plead for the love of this country. Please let us adhere to the provisions of Chapter 6 of the Constitution.
Other leaders also present at the launch urged Kenyans to read the document so as to understand and have the same meaning as everyone, saying the country should not go back to the events that led to the 2007 post-election violence.
I want to encourage Kenyans, read the document, understand the document, and like we were told from Kisii, nothing is cast in stone. A good idea will always give way to a better idea.
We believe we are up to the task, and I want to assure the Kenyan people, on behalf of these members of parliament, that what has been placed on our hands, we are equal to the task.
The launch of BBI comes nearly a year after the first draft was unveiled at the same venue, after which the task force team that was formed retreated to collect views of Kenyans to be included in the final draft. Wellington Ojwang, Switch TV.
Thank you, Wellington Ojwang, for that report. Moving on, COTU Secretary General Francis Etwoli has urged President Kenyatta and ODM party leader Raila Odinga to draft the referendum question, saying the country is ready for a referendum anytime and no one should be allowed to stop it. Speaking at the BOMAS of Kenya, NAT Secretary General Wilson Sission has said the teachers are supporting the call to amend the constitution.
People are talking of digital economy, blue economy, smart economy. Tusielekeze watoto wetu kwa mambo ya zamani. The world is changing fast and we need that. Tunapeleka watoto kwa shule na unataka mtoto yako akitoka kwa shule afunge tai.
Robust conversation and improve the document and go through a referendum and pass it so that we can have peaceful elections in 2022 and a robust economy that guarantees employment of the youth in this country. There is no solution to the youth except guarantee to decent employment.
Politicians have been urged to de-escalate political confrontations in this season. Christ is the Answer Ministry's presiding Bishop David Oginde has also warned against politicization of the BBI, saying the laws that will be made should reflect the common good for all. The bishop has also urged the Deputy President and ODM leader Raila Odinga to work together for the sake of the nation.
Well before BBI. This is because we have believed that unless and until we address the cancer that eats this nation, we will never have enduring peace. To continue with business as usual is to deceive ourselves. It is just a matter of time, and this country will one of these days explode to unquenchable flames. For this reason, we want to unequivocally laud the efforts that have been made by the steering team and by your leadership in addressing these issues.
And this is what Kenyans had to say about the BBI launch. Take a look.
BBI iko sawa, warakini emu yake ya kutengenezwa ndio sioni kama nimeiona mimi kama mimi mwenyewe. Juu kama emu yake ilikuwa ya building bridges, ni ya kushikanisha wa Kenya, kama mimi naona haiko kushikanisha.
Mswada wa BBI ndio tumeusikia wananini leo BOMAS, wanakutana BOMAS, lakini katika hali hiyo tunataka tusome ndio tuielewe. Kama inatupendeza tutachaguana, tutataka hiyo BBI, lakini kama haitatufurahisha hatutaitaka.
Sisi walalahoi hatujaliwi na hii BBI.
We'll use the powers of the president si awe na power nyingi, awe na nguvu ati ana nguvu za kufuta.
Kama uko kwetu Karungangi barabara ni chafu na mbaya sana. Sasa I hope MCA akipatiwa pesa atakuwa anatengeneza za barabara, atakuwa anaangalia miradi ya huko mashinani kabisa.
And away from politics, let's dive deep into the world of commerce with Clifford Ndubi.
Thank you, Lincoln. It's time for business. Good evening and welcome. My name is Clifford Ndubi. There is need to streamline the business sector, which boosts the economic growth. That is according to the sector stakeholders who have appealed to the government to ensure there is openness when it comes to awarding tenders and keeping off politics. Amina Hussein with more.
A majority of the country is comprised of the youth. At 75% who are below 35 years, inclusivity seems to be the missing link in empowering the youth who have the potential to create jobs and boost the economy growth. President Uhuru Kenyatta saying that the Kenyan economy will only progress if the youth issue is dealt with.
Develop and deepen a process, which again I want to thank these gracious men and women because they have looked into those issues, of how we can systematically and in a very clear and thought out manner enable our young people who are our future to be a productive part of Kenyan society.
Whereas this sector creates about 16 million jobs, there is need to streamline the paperwork process, which seem to hamper business registration and execution, a call which Michael Rabar, a representative from the SME sector, wants ironed out.
BBI aims to increase the county shareable revenue from 15% to 35%. That means that there shall be a lot of business opportunities for young people right in the county level. No need to rush to the city to get these jobs, all right? It also aims to create a fund at the ward where 5% of all revenue county receives, 5% gets to the county at the ward level, meaning there will be enhanced business opportunities for young people in the local wards.
As the country looks to build the business bridges, the informal sector is seeking politicians to keep off this sector, claiming they are an impediment.